The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and the individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff of the Sun Prairie Media Center, its members or underwriters, the board members of the Media Center Commission, Charter Communications, TDS Telecom, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
And welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit. The man seated next to me is trying to reform Bananarama. His name is Mike Roth.
Well, it was a great band. Can you think of anything better? I know there's like Led Zeppelin is considered a classic.
Yeah.
Elton John's considered a classic. It goes right to Bananarama.
It really does.
Yeah. I'm expecting the full motion picture to come out shortly.
Yeah.
It's just people need to get what I'm getting with. Get started up again. See Bananarama.
Yeah. You're really doing it, man.
What's your top 10 Bananarama songs?
Oh, man, there was that one, and then there was another one after that that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. People mix them up with Go-Go's and stuff like that.
Yeah. How dare you? They're all very different.
They are.
This week, I've got a film on the streaming spotlight that I want to get into before we get into some really interesting, for various reasons, films on the marquee. But I'm going to start us off with our streaming spotlight, which is a film that we can find on Netflix called See You Yesterday, from director Stephen Bristol. It stars Eden Duncan Smith as a young girl, CJ, and her best friend Sebastian, played by Dante Critchlow. CJ and Sebastian are really smart high school kids obsessed with working on a backpack time machine.
Ooh.
They want to find a way to turn back time, and they eventually figure it out. And their time machine allows them to travel back in time one day.
You say that, and now I got that Cher song stuck in my...
Oh, turn back time? Yeah. So they're able to go back in time one day. This film is set against the events of police shooting innocent black youth. There's a big theme running through this movie. And unfortunately, a tragedy plays out, and her brother, Kelvin, is shot and killed by police. And so, you know, the obvious thing is, can we go back in time and stop that from happening? What are the repercussions if we go back in time and stop Kelvin from being murdered? And, you know, as most things, it doesn't go right the first time. And so multiple attempts means multiple versions of themselves running around in the same universe.
Going back in time cliche, yeah.
You start running into not only yourself, but then yourself who has already traveled back there once before and failed. And then your other self, and there's many selves of you running around the same streets.
Do they go by the same thing where if you meet each other, like the universe explodes or something like that?
It's mentioned, but not followed through on.
All right.
You know, the big question is, is it possible to change the future by changing the past? They don't really answer that question. It's a smart premise, but tonally this movie is kind of odd because it's part goofy high school film and part like Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
And the two parts don't quite mesh the way they should. You know, there's some very serious, very tough things to think about. But there's also like her running into her ex-boyfriend, and they get into a Slurpee fight, and it's kind of, you know, there's also some real weird things. But then there's interesting dynamic between CG and Sebastian. And it was rocky footing for me watching the movie. I really enjoyed a lot of it. And the science in this movie is incredibly flawed, but
well, it's usually with time travel.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. That's fine. The other thing that really bothered me is CJ. I really liked her as the lead. I thought she was a really interesting character. And halfway through the movie, her character just completely changed who she was, and it was totally unexplained why she suddenly became very different. And I just kept going, why are you acting this way? I don't understand why you're acting this way. And it almost felt like two different movies. Like, well, she's acting that way because she's in a serious part of the movie. So now her character acts completely different. One of the great things, the first 5 minutes of this movie is worth watching. I'll tell you because it's in the first couple of minutes of the movie. Their high school teacher who is their science teacher is played by Michael J. Fox.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
As they're trying to figure out how to get back in time,
Yeah.
he's like, time machines. And they go running by, and he gives a great Scott. I said, thank you, Michael J. Fox. Haven't seen him on the screen in a while.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know he's not doing too well, so when he goes onto a project, it's special. I like that.
I mean, that's a big get to have him show up. So that was kind of cool. Overall, the movie's interesting enough that it's worth watching, but it's not as great as I was hoping it would be. Like in the first 20 minutes, I was like, oh, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
It got a little rocky, as I said.
It kind of happens a lot with time travel movies.
Yeah.
And it is an interesting premise that no one really has a good idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the science, wonky.
Wonky is what it is. So I gave See You Yesterday 3 out of 5 stars. It is on Netflix. If it sounds interesting to you at all, I'd recommend just checking out the first 5 minutes at least, because that's always fun. So anyways, what do we have on the marquee first, sir?
Well, I have also kind of a movie that is movies simultaneously being crunched together. I'm talking about A Dog's Journey. It's a sequel to what we saw a little while ago, which I gave terrible reviews for, but people went to see it and made money.
Right.
So A Dog's Journey, directed by Gail Mancuso, starring again the voice of the dog, Josh Gad. We got Dennis Quaid again. This movie, when you watch the commercials, it seems all happy and fuzzy and funny and stuff like that, but these movies are extreme tragedies all the way through. If you are a person that, if the jokes are good, you don't mind seeing a dog die over and over and over again, I mean, this could be for you. In this case, again, we go with a tragedy. Instead of a dog keep on coming back to go see the master, the master sees his old dog Bailey getting old, and he has some concerns with his family. His new wife, which they got together she had family before they were together, and her son died, leaving her daughter-in-law behind and their granddaughter. There's a large inheritance money mixed in with that situation. The mother is a little bit of a manic. She is inattentive towards her child and alcoholic, and tears the child away from the loving family. Soon after that, of course, a dog dies. It's because it has cancer. And that's the whole premise of this movie, is this dog keeps on dying. And after that, it doesn't get any happier. Hannah is the name of our main character, the one that the dog continuously reincarnates to try to connect with again. She's played by Marg
Helgenberger.
Helgenberger, thank you. And she's a fantastic actress. I really like seeing her on the screen. But, again, all it is tragedy after tragedy. When she gets a little older, she finds another dog. It's a cute beagle. You fall in love with it. Her mother's still inattentive, still an alcoholic. She finds out that she takes all the inheritance away. She has an abusive boyfriend. She breaks up with an abusive boyfriend, and he runs her off the road. They're killing another dog.
There you go.
And this movie is like this over
Gotta kill
and
that
over
dog.
and over again. The whole main script is one tragedy after another. Homelessness, cancer, abusive boyfriends, death of dogs, loneliness, all through the whole movie. The only saving grace is what you really see in the commercials, and that's Josh Gad giving kind of meme-like responses, like, "Oh, I wish this bed was filled with bacon."
Plucky dog.
And that is the only thing that makes this movie somewhat happy. But if you're not a sucker for memes of dogs talking, you're not going to laugh. Therefore, all the depressing parts just become depressing. I don't know about you. You might be really cool with all the dog memes and stuff and cat memes and think that this is a wonderful, lovely movie. But if you're not laughing at any of these jokes, you're going to just have 2 hours of major depressing tragedy over and over and over again until the very end. And really, when you look at it, she becomes an older woman, 30 years, and that seems to be her peak when she finally finds happiness, which, again, very much a tragedy. I hate this movie. I really do. But I gave it a score because I know that the sense of humor is not something that I don't look at dog videos and have them talk and laugh and just oh, he wishes that was a fire hydrant. I don't laugh at things like that.
That's a good one. I'm going to keep that one.
But I do get all the tragedy, and that makes it a poor movie for me. I gave it a 1.5. Other people may like this because if they think that kind of dog humor is funny, they'll enjoy that.
I wonder what you and I gave the first one. I got to feel it was right around this score too.
It was right around this score. I do feel like less
I think Dennis
dogs.
Quaid maybe brought it up a half a star.
Yeah, I think less dogs died in this one, but still enough. Oh, there's one thing I'm just going to tell you. There was this part where the dog is running after the owner, long lost for a long time. It was about to get euthanized, but it was able to escape.
Yeah?
Finds the owner, runs into an elevator with a leash on the other side, and the elevator starts going up. And I'm just thinking, well,
that's a horrible way to do this.
This is I mean, I could see them doing this. I mean, it's going to be gory, but because the dog dies so many times, you just believe it every time. Every time you see a dog in a road, you're like, oh, well, too bad I fell in love with this one. But anyhow, on to our next movie, please.
All right. I have one that's slightly less depressing, maybe. It's a film called High Life from director Claire Denis. Stars Robert Pattinson as a guy named Monty. It is a space drama. Convicts are put aboard a spacecraft on a mission that they don't know is a one-way mission. We kind of open the movie finding out that most of the crew has died. Monty and this baby Willow are the only survivors aboard the spacecraft. And then throughout the film, in kind of carefully portioned out flashbacks, we begin to find out what happened on the ship and what may have led to the situation that we're in now. The ship doctor, Dibs, played by Juliette Binoche, was using the crew members as guinea pigs for some of her fascinations, including trying to force insemination and some other horrible scientific experiments she wanted to perform on these convicts. It's a weird movie. Visually, the visual aesthetic in this movie is amazing, though. And that's kind of Claire Denis' hallmark is she really finds a way to dwell on some really interesting imagery. There's a greenhouse on board this ship that provides them with food, oxygen. The greenhouse itself is a character in this movie that I really enjoyed, and they spent a lot of time with it. The whole movie is kind of like this study in isolation, morality, sexuality. There's a lot of long, slow moments that kind of heighten the tension because you have no idea what you don't know. And it's interesting, and there's really some interesting characters in here. Mia Goth is one of the crew members who is kind of really abused in this film. You also have Andre Benjamin, a.k.a. Andre 3000, one of the convicts. But the stars, Robert Pattinson and Willow, who as the baby version is played by Scarlett Lindsay, and she was great. Great baby actor. Like, really believable.
She pulled off baby?
She pulled off being a baby. And then the older version is played by Jesse Ross. Robert Pattinson.
Less believable.
Less believable as a baby, I know that. Robert Pattinson really continues to excel in like these mid-level indie movies that are just, he's tremendous in these. Good Time last year was a great one. These films that really focus on script and character. He's really good. He gets knocked as being the Twilight guy.
Yeah.
A really good actor. And he is strong in this movie in what is, for a large chunk of the movie, him and a baby acting together. And it could be horrible because they say don't act with dogs or babies. He pulled it off really well. And that's also kind of why it surprises me that the rumors are out there right now that he is our next Batman.
Oh.
And that's been the big rumor now, is that he's been selected as the new Batman. And it intrigues me because, you know, the blowback is, oh, the sparkly vampire. Part of me is like, why would he sign on for that? That's a lose-lose situation usually. Why would, you know, that he seems to be excelling at doing things that, like, passion project.
Yeah.
You're only going to stir the ire of fanboys being the new Batman.
I don't know. If he's a good actor, he can make it. When our first Batman, that you and me, our generation, was Michael Keaton, which was a huge joke. People were like, oh, Mr. Mom, the guy who did Beetlejuice. But once we saw Batman, we saw it over and over and over again.
But it seems that fanboys now like to eat their own when it comes to casting. Like Affleck, they just tore Affleck apart for the longest time and
True.
kind of forced him to be like, I don't want to do this. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah, I suppose.
But it's just interesting because he seems like I like doing indie movies. Like, well, now you're signed on with Warner Brothers in DC. But interesting enough. This movie it's interesting to me. And space dramas always tend to get compared to 2001 because that's kind of like the gold standard of that. And a lot of times I poo-poo that. Like, no. This has a lot of 2001 in it, in the isolation feeling of this ship and the kind of weird, uneasy horror element to it because you don't know for the longest time what happened to all these people. I see them in flashbacks. Now I just see dead bodies. So it's interesting enough. And so I gave High Life 3.5 out of 5 stars.
I'm interested in this. I'm going to pick it up once I'm able to find it.
Yeah, I'll hook you up.
Thank you.
It's worth checking out. So. The last film on the marquee. Oh, not the last film on the marquee.
No.
Another film on the marquee.
We have another film. We are a jam-packed show today.
We are. What do you have?
The Sun is also a star. That's the name of this movie. We have Yara Shahidi. I'm totally butchering that. I am so sorry. She plays Natasha Kingsley. She just found out that her family is going to be deported back into Jamaica. And that includes her. She knows America. It's where she grew up. It's what she knows. She does not want to go back to Jamaica. And she is desperately trying to figure out within this 24-hour period on how to stop this. But a little cog gets thrown into the machinery where Charles Melton, he plays Daniel Bay. He sees her from across the way at Grand Central Station, and he becomes smitten. He does the creepy thing that's only cool in romantic comedies, where he follows her, and luckily he was in the right time and right space because she was about to get hit by a car, and he saved her.
Oh, boy.
Well, he tells her, hey, I believe in love. And she's like, no, love is not a thing. It's everything is science. What you're seeing, what you're feeling, it's all hormones rushing through and attraction, but it's not love. And he asks her for 24 hours to do that. And in a normal situation, that what happens. She says, oh, thank you for saving my life, but I don't have 24 hours. I'll give you an hour. We'll go to the coffee shop. After that, they get to know each other. He explains, that we're going to fall in love. She keeps on telling him it's not going to happen. And they separate, and then fate keeps bringing them back together. Within the 24 hours, you could probably guess what happens.
Great.
And I'm not going to tell you the end. It's not as shiny and happy.
Oh, okay.
I feel like even though a lot of this is based on fate and people getting together off and on, it really felt like a real movie.
Okay.
Because there was some real problems and real situations, and things kind of flowed in a way that I thought could be plausible.
Oh, that's always nice.
Yeah, which a lot of these rom-coms I don't feel are plausible. They're just kind of sappy and syrupy.
Right.
But there's some kind of nice scenes.
Some real moments in here?
Real moments made you feel mellow. And I left this movie enjoying it more than I really thought I would.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And the end, I gave it a 3-star. Doesn't knock it out of the park, but
But you're also, we know you're not a rom-com or romantic film kind of guy.
Exactly. And
so that's actually a really strong score.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's your short review.
Checking out. All right. The last movie we have on the marquee is the big one of the week, the film that finally knocked off the Avengers.
Wow.
From the top pedestal that they've been on for oh so long. It is John Wick 3 Parabellum from director Chad Stahelski. Of course, we have Keanu Reeves back as the role as John Wick. We also bring back Ian McShane as Winston, the man who runs the Continental. Lawrence Fishburne as the Bowery King. This movie picks up only minutes after the events of John Wick 2. If you hadn't, the end of John Wick 2, he breaks the rules of the Continental. He goes to the Bowery King, and he is excommunicado because he broke the rules of the Hitman Code in the Continental. And I mean, John Wick 2 ends with one of my favorite lines where, every hitman is coming for you. And he's like, I'll kill him. I'll kill them all. Like, yeah. And this picks up. He is on the run. He has been given 1 hour at the end of 2, so this is within that hour he's running, and then everyone's coming for him. And he's got a huge price tag on his head, which is bringing everybody out of the woodwork to try and take him down.
And keeps going up, too.
Yeah,
Makes
exactly.
it more exciting.
And he is on the run, looking for help, looking for guns, and looking for a way out. Meanwhile, the adjudicator, played by Asia Kate Dillon, has been sent to the Continental to force Winston's hand to betray John Wick and to punish John Wick. And the adjudicator is a very cold and calculating character who just wants some justice brought down. Also, Zero, played by Mark Dacascos. You know him as an Iron Chef guy, the host of Iron Chef. He's great in this as Zero, who is like the big hitman, the big samurai.
But he's also a fanboy.
And he's a huge fanboy of John Wick. It's his job to kill John, but he's also a huge John Wick fanboy, and it's kind of fun. More than anything, this movie is insane action all the way through, from beginning to end. Opening the movie, Boban Marjanovic, who is an NBA player, the 7'3" center, it plays a bad guy in this right away, in a library. I'm watching people get killed by a library book. I haven't seen that before.
No, book foo.
Yeah.
Foo. And there's horse foo in here.
Oh, my God. I mean, all the way through, from library book to the livery stable to the very end of this movie with the samurai fight. You also have Halle Berry in here as Sophia, who is, you can tell they have a history.
Yeah.
And I think she's pretty great in this. I liked her a lot in this.
I thought she was the weak point.
Really?
Just because this movie is very fast-paced. It's very much action-driven, and I felt she was putting a little bit too much plot. I don't know.
But here's the thing. I have not been a fan of Halle Berry's work for quite a while, because I think she's been phoning it in on her name for a long time. And I thought that she actually was, like, having fun, like, you know what? I'm going to do something in this movie. I'm not phoning it in on one of these kidnap movies or whatever. And it seemed like she was having fun in this. I don't know how you couldn't have fun in these movies.
No.
Like, hey, we just need you to go in here and you're just going to fight like 50 guys.
Typically, these kind of movies that are constant action and very little plot. There is no plot. The world that they made is extremely interesting and super sleek and cool.
Yeah.
But the way this is choreographed, I would consider it like better than a lot of Jackie Chan movies.
Oh, yeah.
And Jackie Chan I consider to be a showman of the martial arts. They are so creative in every single move. It's not just, hey, swing a punch that looks like it hits hard.
And you can see them.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not edited to death. You can watch it happen. And there's multiple times in this movie where I'm saying to myself, I've never seen that before in a movie.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was
I love that.
For fight scenes, every single one of them.
That is amazing.
I had troubles because I needed to use the restroom.
Uh-oh.
But this
There's
movie,
no point.
There is no point because everything in this is so interesting.
You have 90 seconds until the next action moment.
Exactly. And you don't want to miss it because, I mean, it's not just fighting. It is art, how they put this together.
Yeah.
It's extremely creative, extremely entertaining. I mentioned Jackie Chan just because he is the closest that I could think of that was this masterful at showing action to be fun and not just something that happens because you're an action movie.
And it's not just showing off. Like some action movies and action stars, they're just showing off moves that they have. We have to get to this set piece, and you can see coming, like they will show a bar hanging somewhere, like, okay, that's got to come into play at some point so you can do a move.
Yeah.
This John Wick franchise, the thing I love about it, in this movie specifically, is things are just happening. He's constantly he's picking up random things, and things are used, and the bad guys are interesting, and the fact that they've set this world up where John Wick is like a hero that everyone knows. He is very well known, and some people, all the hitmen respect him, which is fun, especially when you get to the final scene. Like all the guys he's fighting are like, "Oh man, I get to fight John Wick. This is gonna be a pleasure to fight you. This is amazing. I've always wanted you to like sign my autograph real quick."
When it gets down to the end, they're like, "Ha ha ha! Look what I get to do. All right, let's do it."
Yeah.
And I loved how there was like some give and take. It's like, all right, I'm not just going to kill you because you're a fan.
Yeah.
We're going to actually fight back and forth and make this last and enjoy it.
And
even though we're going to kill each other.
I like that he picks up injuries along the way and they stay with him. The other thing that I absolutely love about these movies is that they take into account ammunition counts.
Yeah.
80% of the time.
Yeah.
So
There's a shotgun that went off way too many times.
But I do enjoy the fact that it's been through the entire franchise of like he's always hiding ammunition places and taking the bad guy's gun because his is out, and he's constantly loading himself and constantly having to reload. And whether it's the exact count, at least it's a thought, and it's not like an old Western where my 6-shooter fires off 45 rounds.
Yeah.
He's constantly having to find ammunition, and I'm out. Okay, that guy's dead. I'll take his. I just like those little things in this movie that make it feel somewhat real.
They thought about it all the way through.
Yeah.
The only thing that I didn't like about this movie compared to the other John Wick movies, and they're all fantastic, and this is not a huge complaint, but in the other movies, everything seemed to be happen in coy. So even though there's too many hitmen to really make a good market out of it, because it's like, what, 1 out of every 20 people is a hitman?
Yeah, basically.
In the past movies, they had scenes where they fought in front of people, but it felt sly. Like there was a scene where they had silencers on their gun and they're shooting at each other, but no one noticed it.
Scene.
Where in this one,
well, now everyone's after him now. Basically.
Well, but still, there's the people who don't know this hitman world, and they're like in an airport, and they're just like, "You're dead."
That's a good point.
It's like people notice things like that.
I love the cinematography and the action in this. Like it's over the top, violent chaos, but it's controlled chaos.
Yeah.
And I dig it. There's so many moments in this movie where I was like openly cheering and reacting, like grabbing. Logan, my son, was with me, and we're just grabbing each other. Did you see that?
That was awesome.
Wow, and just there's homages in here to great film moments in the past. But meanwhile, it's also blazing a path for the next generation of these films.
Yeah.
And it's a high bar now for these films.
It's not just an action movie. It is a piece of art. It's not just the action. It's also the scenery around it. It's the costume design. The acting, for the most part, is fantastic.
I love it. Give me more Ian McShane. I'll take him in every movie.
He was the one I was thinking of when I was thinking of it. And Lawrence Fishburne, too. I love how he usually is more cool, but in this one he's a little bit more crazy, a little bit more crass. I like that.
I like him a lot. What did you end up giving John Wick 3 Parabellum?
I gave it a 4. And that's probably on the low score because I did have a lot of fun, but there was like some things that made me feel like, I didn't like it. That's
fair. This thing 5 stars, man. I mean, no spoiler.
Cool.
You saw.
That's cool.
I posted something like, "This might be my favorite movie right now."
Yeah.
I love this. This is my favorite of the John Wick movies. That's saying something because I think I've given them all like 4.5s.
Yeah. And
but
they're all really good.
I love this one.
And I don't blame you because it is beautiful films. Even if you don't like action films, check this out because the choreography, the artwork, there's a lot of love.
Give me a call. I'll take you. We'll go check it out anytime. Let's take a look ahead, sir. What is going to be coming soon? The weekend of May 31st. Sir, we got 3 movies. All look interesting to me. The first one is Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters.
I've been waiting. I'm still looking forward to the Godzilla King Kong thing.
We're getting there. Hopefully there's more Godzilla in this one than the first Godzilla movie.
Oh, it's going to be tons of Godzilla.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. The second one is a horror movie starring Olivia Spencer, Ma, where she gets in with a bunch of teenagers and starts causing some trouble.
I feel like the commercial spoils it a little bit, but I'm hoping I'm wrong.
She's a great actress.
She is a great actress.
Yeah, very effective. And then last but not least, Taron Egerton is starring in the new biopic, Rocket Man. He is playing Sir Elton John.
I don't know how I feel about this one yet.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic about all 3 of these movies.
I mean,
that's awesome.
The songs alone will make me like it a lot,
That's
but
true.
yeah.
That's true. Before we leave you, though, of course, we have to thank our sponsor, Palace Cinemas here in Sun Prairie. Thank you. Marcus Theaters, thank you for sponsoring this program. We do enjoy it. We are into the summer movie season. I can't wait to spend a majority of my time in the air-conditioned theaters in a beautiful Dream Lounger with my bucket of popcorn.
After slaving away outside all day, and then you get to be all nice and feel human again inside of...
Can't wait. Love it. Next week, we will be here talking about Disney's Aladdin, Booksmart, and Brightburn. It looks like a fun slate.
I'm thinking.
Find out what we have to say about those all next week when we meet again. But until that time, I'm Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.